All right, happy February 1st, you guys. It is Thursday night, our team training, and we are continuing with our theme of quality client support. And what do we do as a health coach, and how does our interaction with our clients make a difference in their outcomes? And we know it really, really does. So we've been spending the past few weeks just kind of walking through week by week with our clients. It kind of parallels really well with if you've had anybody start in our the focus group that we had in January. It really parallels well. And so now we're talking about week 4 and beyond with our clients, which to me is a pretty pivotal time, because as I mentioned in my video this morning, you know, clients come in, and I think Kate and Brandon, you mentioned this the other day, like they come in like rock stars, like I'm in, that sounds perfect, I want long-term transformation, and then they butt up against reality and real life, and then it starts getting more challenging. So our role is just to help keep people, you know, on course, keep engaging them in what we know is going to help them move forward. And we certainly can't drag anybody. So what we want to do is hopefully be asking questions. And anytime we show somebody or direct them to a resource, my philosophy is always, let's show them the value and why they should be doing it. So, you know, I never want to say like, well, have you been reading Dr. A's book? Well, you really should do that. You know, I definitely want to maybe point out something specific, maybe relative to what they're going through. Or a lot of times I'll use words like, you know, is it going to be important to you to keep the weight off? I mean, you're rocking and rolling. Are you going to want to keep the weight off? So we're going to get an obvious yes to that. But then that yes would say, well, then is it okay if I give you my best advice for that? And asking permission of our clients a lot, asking things in form of a question versus telling, changes the response tremendously. Because let's face it, none of us want to be told what to do. Right? Don't your walls go up immediately, you know, when it feels like, even if you know it's the right thing to do, it's like, well, you know. So we just try to put yourself in their place. And I think if we always go at it from our client's best interest, it'll make sense. So we talked about this in like last week, and I'll just kind of reiterate it. The couple of things that we really want to do. So the natural thing is most clients come in and they're in a dieter's mentality. It's the way the world works. It's what they've always done. So it's a shift. We're awakening them to what we're going to offer them that's possible in terms of their long-term transformation with their physical health, and then also that we're concerned about their mental health and their financial health as well, and how the three of those things tie together. So we want to constantly be moving them in the direction that we know will help, and that what their response typically is they're going to latch on to the weight loss plan. Right? Because they're going to get going, they're going to start getting results, and then they're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to get to that book, I'm going to get there, and then they don't. So utilize the different tools that we have in terms of the education. There's always the books. I love the weekly Wednesday night webinars. It's few and far between that will actually get it on live, but a lot of times they'll get on the replay or the podcast. So the replays are available on YouTube. Just key in, or tell them to key in, Habits of Health calls, and the replays are out there, or they can also put that in their favorite podcast thing that they search podcast. The Facebook group for Eat, Live, and Be Healthy, or Optavia. We used to call it Eat, Live, and Be Healthy. Eat, Live, and Be Optavia. So have you ever heard this before from a client? I'll say, you know, what do you think of our Facebook group? Oh, I love it. I really, really love reading everybody's comments. Or I really love all the recipes. But they're not really engaged, right? They're just lurking. They're observing on the outside. So I really, you know, I will use those opportunities to talk about why it would be, you know, why healthy community is important, and a healthy community means being engaged. So if they would participate, you know, like, hey, if you see something, if you can take 2 seconds and add a comment or add your input, somebody new is going to come behind you, and you're going to be the one that's going to be helping them along with their journey. And then when you need support, I want you to feel comfortable that you can reach out for support, or when you want to celebrate something, I just want you to be comfortable with that and why it's helpful. So the Facebook group, and then the also thing is to always be sure that we're talking about other habits of health as well. Like, you know, it's a good, like about week 3 or 4, I like to ask a few times around exercise. So, you know, if they're not exercising, have you started to incorporate some movement? And if not, say, well, would you like some help with that? Because, that is going to be something that's going to be important for your long-term health. Would you like to talk about some ideas around that? And go back to that, or ask about sleep or water, something other than just, because if we start coaching just for the weight loss plan, that's what they're going to do, is just the weight loss plan. And then eventually they're going to fall off because it's going to be like a diet, and then they're going to be disappointed and you're going to be disappointed. So anything we can do to move in that direction. And what I wanted to talk about tonight, what is the well-being evaluation. So did you guys get a chance to look at it online beforehand, or are you familiar with the tool? Okay. So this came out, I don't know, probably 1.5 to 2 years ago. And I will be honest, I kind of dropped the ball. I was using it a lot and it was very valuable. And then for whatever reason, it just kind of fell off the radar. And it was interesting because at the same time, I found that my conversations were getting more difficult with clients, especially when I wanted to start to bring up the health coach opportunity. I was having trouble finding, reasons other than to say, like, you really should be a health coach, or you'd be really good at it. The typical stuff that we know doesn't work. We really want to identify a need. So kind of brought it back out, dusted it off, and have been reintroducing it and using it quite a bit now with some coaches and their clients that are bringing their clients to me for celebration calls. And I'll have Susan share in a minute about what that looks like. But I'm just going to share my screen and pull it up. And I guess my next question would be, raise your hand. Have you had a client submit it yet and send you the results? Have you noticed when you get the email from it, if you print the email, it's about 3 pages, but if you scroll down the email, they actually tell you, kind of guide what to do depending on where your client fell in the categories, like how to use the information and why it's important, and what we would be doing at this stage of the game if they have a specific score. So I encourage you to fill one out on yourself, put your own email address in there or whatever, but get one of these printed copies so that you can have that in front of you. I think it'll be really helpful. I'm not going to read it all to you because that wouldn't be fun. But let me share my screen and see if I can pull up the well-being evaluation. Can you guys see that? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. All right. So basically what this does is this just goes through, of course, the various categories. And you've probably done one before. If you haven't done one before or done one recently, this is really a good tool. We're going to be best at working with our clients if we're doing what we want them to do, right? So if we do one of these, every, couple months, it is a great way for you to evaluate how you're moving forward. But basically just going through the categories about healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. So there's different questions. I like to focus a lot because I know that we know the program can help them so much in the physical habits of health. And if somebody comes in and they're low on physical activity, that opens the door that I can ask permission. Do they want some coaching and some accountability around that? Sleeping, I can, refer them to chapter 17 in Dr. A's Habits of Health. That one I find fairly simple. The healthy mind and healthy finances, this is where we can really start to awaken people to looking at all aspects of their life. Dr. A describes it that most people in life they're asleep at the wheel. Most people aren't really thinking and centering their life around most important to them. We're just in this fast-paced world that nobody even intends for it to happen this way, but before you know it, you're just kind of doing life instead of creating life. And so that's the way I like to talk about it with my clients, is that, we utilize this tool just so you can start to look at other areas of your life. And very often these other areas of life are factoring into why we're struggling with our physical health. So I think it'd be valuable if you filled this out, you'd be able to see the correlation, and maybe we can start talking and bringing some awareness to those issues. And then we know that our health coach opportunity is going to help to address a lot of what's might be missing in somebody's world for healthy mind and healthy finances. So I'll stop the share on that for a minute. So Susan, you had a similar experience that I did in terms of not, used to use the tool and then stop using it. And then we brought it out again with some celebration calls. And then I kind of used that in my conversation with clients. And, I think it was even was it your sister-in-law? I asked you, do you think she's a health coach candidate? And you said, I don't think so. And then when I asked her the questions, she was like, yeah, might consider that. So yeah, just fill us in on where you are with that.
That's exactly right. I mean, my sister-in-law has started the program about a month ago, and she's had great success. But she's my sister-in-law, so I thought I prejudged her. And so we did a celebration call because I'm finding the value in that in and of itself, doing the celebration calls, because a lot of times, well, obviously in this particular situation, Dee started asking her questions about, do you like what you do in your job? And I found out some things that, she did, but didn't, I mean, it was a stressful job. And so Dee was using, kind of referring to the well-being evaluation and found out that, she was considering being a health coach, that she really was enjoying the program, enjoying the whole process. And that blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So here was this opportunity. And then we had another celebration call with another client of mine, same kind of thing, where we just looked at we used the well-being evaluation as sort of a tool to you bring up some topics of conversation. And one of them was the same thing, do you like what you do in your job? And she's like, well, not really. I'm just doing it because we need the income. I actually love mathematics and science, and I'd much rather be in that field and do something like that. But I'm only doing this because I have to. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that either. And it was a great tool to use to kind of look at, okay, they're not happy with their, obviously they want to be able to contribute more to charities or, that kind of thing. And so it's a great topic. I see you're kind of low in that area. Is what would you like to do? And then you find that out. So you find the need, you find the reason why health coaching would be a great way for them to be able to give back to the community if that's what they want to do. So I love it, and I wish I'd been using it all along, but it is just such a great way to kind of, bring yourself around where you can ask the questions, where you're not stuck in like, okay, now what do I say? What do I do? It's right there. They've already told you what to ask because they tell you where they're lacking. And so, yeah, I was really surprised by that. And it was great to have that celebration call because it was like one step removed, and Dee has that credibility because I was telling my clients, this is my health coach. She's awesome. You're going to love her. And so that credibility goes right in there. And so they'll tell your business coach things that was like, oh, why didn't I think to ask that? So yeah, I highly recommend doing both well-being evaluation in conjunction with that celebration call.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because, thank you, Susan, for that. With humans, a lot of people have walls up. I read something recently that, about 40% of people, I mean, this is even your family members and stuff, they have walls up, right? So if anybody, so what we want to do is come alongside somebody really empathetically and just intuitively, like just coming from our heart, just asking questions. And most people aren't used to being asked, what do you want? Like, if you could have that, what would you do with that? And it gets people thinking. But if people realize that it's in their best interest, like you actually care about them and you're asking them, and that, the same thing with the celebration calls, everybody loves to be celebrated. So it's not a big deal to bring somebody to a celebration call. It actually helps them feel more empowered and feel more valued, even as a client. So I think that if we can use these tools in conjunction and utilize, I think I shared with you before, when I first started coaching, I'm trying to save you mistakes from I made, but I was really uncomfortable talking about offering health coaching. It didn't feel right to me. And I thought, they came here to lose weight. Why would they want to, now they're going to think, oh, now she just wants me to be a health coach. But when I have tools like this and information like this, I mean, it's completely changed my perspective, and conversations flow so naturally. And I'm shocked at how people really respond, because and you guys are all on the phone because your client, or on this, became a health coach because your coach took the time to do this and find what the need was for you. So that's what we're doing, is just looking. And honestly, if somebody came out of 10 in all these categories, which I think, as they say, is less than 7% of the population, would be in this thriving place, you know what? Those are people that are really good at relationships and really good at giving and serving And you know what? They probably make a great health coach because we need more of that. We need more people who are, have that kind of heart for giving and serving. So that would be what my conversation was. I wouldn't look at it and say, well, you have enough money, or well, you seem happy. Usually happy people, whatever, they want more, right? People who have money, they want more, so that's what I'm with Susan as far as we need to be really careful that we don't prejudge anybody. And again, if you have a situation where you feel uncomfortable, if it's a family member or something, then bring your business coach into the equation. So would it be helpful to you if I kind of role played what some of these conversations might look like, how I would dig deeper with somebody? Okay, so we're not going to get into specifics, but Debbie Pasco sent me her updated well-being evaluation, and she, we talked about this before, and she agreed that she'd be willing to be a little vulnerable here and just share a little bit about this. And Debbie, what I'd like to do is kind of actually do a role play in terms of, because I want to be able to offer you health coaching in this. I want them to be able to see what that would look like to kind of how I might put that out there. So let's pretend that you are a client, right? And you've been on the program for, a while, maybe week 3 or 4. I've sent you this well-being evaluation and you filled it out. So, we would just have a conversation, and it would be one of her weekly calls or whatever. And I'd say, Debbie, thanks for filling out the well-being evaluation. Tell me what you thought about that. Have you ever thought, were you surprised when you saw the types of questions that we were asking?
Yeah, it was really insightful. It made me think in ways that I don't even just naturally just think on my own. It made me really dig deep and look at different aspects that I don't even really, I think I just kind of coast along and don't even think about everything. So I really appreciated that.
Good. Well, I'm looking at your healthy body scores, and I know how you rated yourself in the healthy weight category, and you got the bomb of a program. We're working on that, so we know we've got that covered. What other areas in the area of physical health, when you kind of stopped and looked at those other habits, where did you surprise yourself, or where do you see an opportunity that you could maybe start to focus on?
I think I knew that I used to be more physically active than I am right now. And I know that I was happier when I was more fit and more active. And I want to go back to that. I want to get back to the place where I am, obviously nourishing my body the right way, but moving more too.
What gets in the way of you doing that now?
I think for me, it's probably time management. I have a younger child at home, and he's still preschool age. And so I struggle with when I have the whole family home, so I can leave the younger one, I have a harder time leaving. And so I know I have the option, obviously, of leaving, getting up super early in the morning and going out when everybody's still in bed asleep, and getting myself up out of bed is not easy. I know once I get going, I'm sure I could, keep up the momentum, but it's going from not moving to moving that is such hard work.
Would you like some accountability around that?
I think that would help a lot.
Okay. So you guys notice how I'm asking her questions and then I'm asking her permission. I didn't say well, I see you kind of low on this physical activity, what are we going to do about that? I just said, what did you see about yourself? She mentioned what it was. I asked her what was getting in the way, and then would she like some accountability? So I asked her permission the whole way. And then if that was the case, I'd come up with a game plan with her in terms of what she was going to do. So Debbie, moving on to healthy mind, I am so impressed, and this doesn't surprise me. I mean, that you've got such great scores in the area of your relationships with others. So that's amazing. When you looked at this and the kinds of questions, are there any areas in this category that that surprised you, or that you would like us to maybe take a look at?
I think my interpersonal relationships are doing fine. I'm happy with where I am there. I think maybe the more intrapersonal, I think I need to do a little bit more just taking care of me, and focusing on self-care. So that was a great Habits of Health call. So I think that, I think what learned, or something that was very glaringly obvious to me based on, doing this well-being evaluation, was how much I'm not really looking at me and taking care of me.
So I saw with the areas of hobbies and fun, you kind of rated yourself low there. What prevents you from, is it just
Again,
not putting
it's
yourself
mothering a
first?
small person. It's like you kind of have to give up a little bit. You give up who you are because you're taking care of somebody else. Their needs come before yours a lot. And then, once they're older, you can be a little bit more, I hate to use the word selfish, but, a little bit more selfish and a little bit more like, okay, taking care of me right now. But when they're younger, I have a very hard time separating myself from my role.
What kinds of things would you do if you had more time for fun?
Well, okay, so I'm thinking back to like my life before he was here, and I had a, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, I had an older child, and I was much more able to, I lived, like 2 miles from Lifetime Fitness where I used to work out. And so that was my happy place. And I had a little bit more social life and a little bit more just me, and I don't have that right now because I've moved locations and I have a small child home again. So
with hobbies and doing, because you can do fun things as a family, or are there activities you would like to do but maybe you don't have the financial resources to do them?
I think that's a lot of it. Yeah, I think the lack of the financial resources, the place where we are right now, I think that stops us from just saying, hey, let's go to this place, or let's check out that thing, or I think that's strapping us a little bit right now.
Okay. So moving on to the healthy finances, so it looks like this is an area that, it's kind of a struggle for your family right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
And if you could move into the category, we talk about I really love that category, abundance, at the beginning. And, abundance doesn't mean really that you're going to go buy, shiny objects to show off to the world. Abundance really means just freedom, that you have the resources to do what you want. So if it's to do create memories with your family, be able to contribute to your church, whatever it is. What kinds of things come to mind? Like if you had the money to do them, what would you like to do that you're not able to do now?
Certainly generosity. I like the idea of being able to give in all kinds of ways. Yes, at church, and then just, with friends, like I remember times when I would be able to just be like, oh, look at that thing. I'm sure my friend would really appreciate this thing, and being able to just give it for no reason, that kind of thing. I miss that, and I will get there again. We're just not there right now. And then abundance as in like just being able to do like day trips and say, you know what, we want to go down to Wiki Wachi and see the mermaids or whatever, like that kind of thing. I would really appreciate that. It'll come again, I know, but right now it's not here.
Okay. All right. I gotcha. Well, the reason I'm asking, so I'm looking at, all of your areas, and, you've seen one part of the program that we offer, which is around the healthy body. And that is amazing. But another thing that is available to you is really the opportunity to do, what I do as a health coach, and just kind of come alongside us, link arms, and help other people. And, we are compensated well for doing that. And I'm kind of wondering if I could show you what that looks like, and how that might help you, maybe create some additional income that could take some of this financial pressure off your family. Would that be something you would want to explore?
I would be interested in looking at it. I think that the idea of helping other people, it appeals to me, and the idea of extra income, of course, appeals to me. I'm a little concerned. It seems like, maybe it's out of my realm of what I can do. Is it hard?
That from a time perspective? You're worried about time?
No, I'm concerned. You seem to be so with it and good at what you do. I don't know that I could do it.
That's so not true, but anyway, yeah. So great question. No, you know what, Debbie, we have a really duplicatable system. You know what the 5-in-1 is and how to do that program, and really we'd be linking arms, and you'd be, starting to walk somebody through the same process that I'm walking you through. So if I could show you and do that alongside with you, would that make you feel more comfortable?
Very much, yes, absolutely.
Okay. So do you guys see that where I was just asking for permission? Did she want to explore it? And then when she had a fear, I just kind of said, well, if I could show you that I would come alongside you, would that make you feel better? You know, so really our role is we want to introduce the idea. And honestly, if you remember the first time your coach said it, you were probably like, oh, that's like, I kind of like that idea, but that's the scariest thing I've ever thought about doing. So that's our role too, is to help alleviate those fears. So good. Well, I hope that was helpful. And really, like Susan said, I think the best thing is if you can use your business coach with you on those first things. And if you're not comfortable with sharing about the health coach opportunity, use your business coach for that. I mean, I think Brandon and Kate, we talked about that the other day. You have somebody who's interested or you think would be a good candidate. And I said, bring them to Meg, bring them to an explore call with Meg and let her do some of that heavy lifting for you. You listen, you learn, and then you'll be, developing those skills. So thank you, Debbie. Thanks for being vulnerable. We've got a lot coming up on the calendar this week. I just kind of wanted to run it through for you guys as we close out this call. You probably saw in our group that we have the option to participate in a boot camp, which is going to focus on sponsoring health coaches, and it's going to be led by Integrated Presidential Director Dan Valentine. And Dan is a very dynamic young coach who really blew it out of the water when he joined our organization and has really developed a sponsoring team by doing exactly this, by learning how to tap into people and ask the right questions. So that is available to you if you'd like to participate. Let your coach know. We'll get you into the group. And that starts on Saturday. This week on Saturday, and it's like a 6-week boot camp. The company, you probably got an email, the company is offering a bonus this month. It's called Accelerate February. And so for every new health coach that we bring on, if they have $500 in volume, which is about 1.5 clients, they get a $50 bonus and you get a $50 bonus. So it's a win. Timing is perfect for this. You'll be learning the skills and then hopefully be able to put it into action. We had congratulations to Brandon and Kate and to Courtney on this call. They both ranked up this month. We had a lot of activity. Tuesday night is our celebration call with Susan Palace. So please take the time to be there with us to celebrate those and learn from them as far as what's working. And then Thursday night is our book club. If you've been reading The Slight Edge, you can join us. Dan Bell is here on February the 10th. Meg is hosting a team dinner for us on the 9th. So, I mean, we're rocking and rolling here. And then what I mentioned this last week, but we're really trying to help us be more efficient with our time and your time. And what we realized is we kind of had things every single night of the week. So we're trying to maybe consolidate things down. So starting the week of February 12th, we're going to move our Thursday team time to Monday nights. So Dr. A will be at 8, and then we'll be a separate Zoom number at 8:30. So hopefully that'll work well for you guys, just one night that you can commit to. We're not going to do it this coming Monday since we already have Susan's call on Tuesday night, et cetera. We just won't do a separate team time next week. So is that good? Is that going to work for you guys? Awesome. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules to hop on tonight. And I'm free if you have any questions, okay? Thanks, you guys.